Hi, I know I haven't uploaded in like 6 months. So the topic of today's video is the best movies of the 2020s so far, in my very, very important opinion. And it's that simple. Let's go. Okay, and at number 20 we have After Sun. It's just a movie about a girl and her dad. And does it suck? This movie gave me a lot of trauma and pain and suffering and sadness, because that's what these do. They make sad shit. It's sad, it's awful, but like in all the best ways. It takes your heart and rips it apart beautifully. And I will never ever forget seeing that little girl sing Losing My Religion and wanting to just rip my television apart. I wanted to put my fist through Paul Mescal's head, just like clean through, like a bullet. And then the movie just goes on and it ends like that. And oh my god, don't move the mic! Don't move the mic. And yeah, the movie ends like that. And it's messed up, man. Why do you have to do that to me? At number 19, we have Nope. Please ignore the cat. She's apparently just gonna be here for this recording session. At number 19, we have Nope. Nope by Jordan Peele is just cinema, I think. I remember walking into that movie having seen no trailers, no posters, nothing. I just heard Jordan Peele's making a new movie, so I did what I always do and, close my eyes and close my ears and, see no evil, speak no evil, and by evil I mean spoilers. So I went in just completely blind. I had no idea the movie was about aliens. There's the horse, and then Keith David gets keys stuck in his head from space, and it's awesome. And I don't know, I feel like Jordan Peele has kind of perfected spectacle, because the visuals in that movie are incredible. I need to find out who the cinematographer is. Cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytma is an absolute legend. This movie is awesome. It looks amazing. The Gordy scene is incredible. I don't want to spoil the movie. The antagonist, unbelievable. It looks so good. And when I say that scene, yes, this movie has a that scene, everyone knows what I'm thinking about. Just hearing the sounds coming out of that scene. Unbelievable. At number 18, we have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm a Mission Impossible guy, yeah. I've been Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is it's kind of insane, actually. I think Mission Impossible has reached a point where it's just Tom Cruise and the rest of the producers trying really, really hard to just show you some crazy stuff. That train scene comes to mind instantly. Just the constant Looney Tunes-esque trying to climb, and all the piano. There's a piano that falls on him. Looney Tunes. It's awesome. And the way they handle Ilsa, Rebecca Ferguson's character, the way they handle, every single character. Mission Impossible is really good at characterization. It's just really, really clever. It's smart. It's effective. Tom Cruise is a living legend, and I'm not done talking about him. At number 17, we have The Father. Olivia Colman and Anthony Hopkins just bounce off each other. It's just back-to-back, gut-wrenching cinema. Just going through the events that happened to Anthony Hopkins' character, the titular father. It's just really, really sucky. It hurts. Just sitting there the whole movie and watching Olivia Colman be sad, and Anthony Hopkins be sad and angry and confused. And I don't know why he doesn't do more stuff like this. I wish Anthony Hopkins spent his entire career doing really gut-wrenching drama like this instead of Hannibal. Next up at number 16 is Skinamarink. Now, I know, polarizing. A lot of you are going to say, whoa, that shit sucked. But a lot of you are going to say, whoa, that shit scared. And I agree with the second lot of you. Because Skinamarink is terrifying. There's just something about that movie and the aesthetic, the fact that nothing happened for half the runtime. It's ballsy. It's new. And I like new. I'm a man who wants cinema and art in general to be revolutionized constantly. Without the use of AI, please. And yeah, I think Kyle Edward Ball does a super, super, super good job with this. It's memorable, it's terrifying. I remember sitting there just clutching my hands in fear and covering my eyes, trying not to see the scary Skinamarink demon. And I now have a constant fear and phobia of cartoons on loop, which is not something that happens often, but if it did happen often, I would be terrified. Next at number 15 is the Iron Claw. Have you guys noticed a trend? I like being sad when I watch art, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, the Iron Claw is depressing, and I think it's one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen just because of how real it is. And I think it's even crazier that it's so depressing and that real story is so sad that they had to cut things out of the movie so that it wouldn't just end up being this circle of doom and gloom. I think Zac Efron is incredible in this. I never like the use of hardcore steroids, especially not for a film role. But hey, power to him if that made him happy. Zac Efron looks grotesque in this movie in a good way. He's this muscular, roided up, terrifying monster guy who is actually just a soft country boy who is really sad. And I think this movie is really sad. How many times am I gonna say sad? And next up at number 14 we have Talk to Me. Talk to Me is desolate, it's hopeless, and I think more horror should be like that. I don't see a future for horror movies where we end up with happy endings. Like, oh my god, Cloud, please, the microphone, where are you putting your head? Where are you going? As I was saying, I don't see a future for horror films to have happy endings like Saw X. I think that's stupid and boring and dumb and no balls. Stop. Let's go back to desolate. Let's go back to despair. Let's go back to terrifying. Let's go back to actual trauma causing supernatural trauma. It's like trauma on trauma. It's trauma squared. It's just this flesh and body of trauma. I think trauma in film is important because no matter what trauma we go through in life, it's kind of nice to see, no matter how distant and messed up and unrealistic it may seem, trauma in film can help you deal with that trauma in real life. And sometimes all you need is a good cry or be kind of scared or extremely scared if you're watching Talk to Me. Next up at number 13 is Barbie. Look, I am a guy who tries his best not to get hyped for movies because I believe that getting disappointed for a hype media event is one of the worst feelings. Imagine spending 3 years since a movie is announced, getting hyped and watching all the teasers and trailers, which is something I don't do. Looking at all the posters they drop and going through all the casting news, and getting excited and being like, the movie's gonna be like this, the movie's gonna be awesome, the movie's gonna rock, and then watching it and it turns out to be Ezra Miller's The Flash. Not all movies are created equal, and especially Barbie, because Barbie is fire. I was excited the whole time. Greta Gerwig, Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, all those posters with this Barbie is blank, this Ken is blank. Fire. And I knew that movie was gonna be fire. And I went to the cinema and it was fire. Barbie is awesome. Barbie is hilarious. Barbie has an amazing set of actors just cooking. Absolutely cooking. I'm stuttering from how much I'm excited for this. Barbie is awesome. Greta Gerwig does an amazing job. Margot Robbie does an amazing job. Ryan Gosling is hilarious. He might be the funniest actor in Hollywood. Yeah, Barbie is amazing. And if you still haven't seen Barbie, shame on you. Go watch Barbie right now. Pause this video, go watch Barbie, and come back. Please don't forget, please come back. At number 12, we have one of the finest filmmakers in cinema today, Wes Anderson, and his film, The French Dispatch. The French Dispatch is so good. The idea of having all these little short films inside your film and they're all kind of sort of connected because they all work in the same production company, it's just awesome. I think Wes Anderson is a G, and I think he executes this so well. Every little reporting segment, I don't understand what I should be calling them. I'll call them short films, even though they're not, but just for my own sanity. Every short film here is so good. Every actor does an amazing job. The writing is amazing. Characters are blinking on cue. Watching Wes Anderson is like when you play with your action figures as a kid and you try to make them look cool. That's what it feels like. It's just this really, really talented filmmaker with very expensive action figures called Timothy Chalamet, and they cook. The French Dispatch is amazing, and my favorite part will always be Benicio del Toro suddenly switching to shaky cam, chasing Adrian Brody on a wheelchair. Incredible cinema. Next up at number 11 is John Wick Chapter 4. Oh my god. What can I say about this movie? It's just pure action. If you ever liked action, who doesn't like action? If you're alive and you're a human, you'll like John Wick 4. Otherwise, you have no soul, no heart. You might be a demon sent by the devil himself. How can you watch John Wick 4 and not enjoy that? How can you not see Keanu Reeves being unable to act, but really good at stunt work? So, let's give him this whole franchise where he just does really cool stunts. And he's sad and angry and he says, yeah. You give him a gun, you make him shoot people, you make him spin around in like Paris and stuff. You do that top-down shot, it's like a video game. Don't worry, I'll put this on the screen, and if I forget to put it on the screen, I'm sorry. But it's just awesome. Like, all these individual shots, cooking. There's a samurai in here. Rina Sawayama is in the end. Why is Rina Sawayama here? I don't know. But it's fire. Every little decision that's made by the John Wick franchise team, what am I saying? Every single decision made by the production team for John Wick is just awesome. And the fact that the fourth installment is the best installment, in my opinion, is just unbelievable. I love John Wick. I'm super happy to be alive at the same time as these movies, because every single John Wick movie has been an event, and every single time they cook. A super underrated aspect as well of John Wick is the cinematography. Everyone always talks about the action and action and action, which is what I just spent a few minutes doing. I know, I'm sorry, but it's that good. But also the cinematography is just amazing. The neon lights, the stylized subtitles in the first few, just the way that the shots are blocked as well. You have the shots in John Wick 4 when he's in Japan, and you have the hotel, you have the rain, you have the dark lighting. And I haven't even talked about the marquee. The marquee is awesome. That Skarsgård, I always confuse them. Which Skarsgård is it? I'm not Googling it. Bill. I think it's Bill Skarsgård. He's awesome. He's chillingly gross. John Wick is awesome. Watch John Wick if you haven't. I don't care if it's 4 movies. Sit your ass down and watch. Next up at number 10 is Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. We're back to trauma. Based on the real story of the Osage in the US. It's just messed up. 3.5 hours of pain is what I would call this, but it's pain that's shot, directed, and acted extremely well. And it's a story that I just moved the mic. And it's a story that I think must be told, and I'm super happy that it is told, because there's an injustice in the world, and that injustice was portrayed, well, I think extremely effectively. And, it's an issue I was unaware of, and now I am aware of it. And I'd like to thank Martin Scorsese for that. Killers of the Flower Moon is amazing. Lily Gladstone is incredible. I don't believe in award shows, but someone give Lily Gladstone an award. Did she win the Oscar? I have no idea. But if she didn't, give her her Oscar. And if she did, give her another one. She's awesome. My biggest issue with the film is the fact that Lily Gladstone doesn't get enough screen time, and I'm serious. That's literally my only gripe in this film. The rest of it is awesome. Watch Killers of the Flower Moon. Going deeper in the top 10, at number 9 now, is The Book of Sun, or as it's called in Arabic, Shams al-Ma'arif. I think the fact that it's called The Book of Sun in English is a weak translation, because Shams al-Ma'arif is actually this really big cultural thing in Muslim culture. where it's this supposed book. It has a bunch of magic and how to summon demons and all that crazy stuff inside. So you might think, wait, to me, is this a horror movie? Is this scary? No, this is the funniest movie I might have seen in my entire life. After Scott Pilgrim, we don't talk about Scott Pilgrim. The Book of Sun is amazing. This movie is unbelievable. And the fact that it's so set in and ingrained into Saudi, and specifically Western Saudi culture, which is where I'm from, is just unbelievable. It's awesome. It's amazing. The jokes, every single joke lands. I sat there for the entire runtime crying, laughing. And it's also super personal for me because as a young Saudi man who has been trying to get into filmmaking and has kind of struggled through education, well, after high school specifically. And yeah, I've tried to find my place in the world as an artist, and that's exactly what the main character of this film, Hussam, does. I won't tell you how it goes for him. You should watch this movie even if you don't speak Arabic. I'm pretty sure the subtitles on Netflix are pretty good. Watch the film. If you miss any cultural things, I'm free to help. DM me. This is a movie I'm willing to help everyone be able to experience completely. And yeah, I'm looking forward to their next movie. And if you've noticed, or if you haven't noticed, I'm going to tell you right now. This is the first time I've ever spoken about an Arabic movie, I think. I think it probably is, yeah. Because Arabic cinema has been really weak since it started, because they're kind of stuck in that 60s to 80s era of film, and what works and what makes money in Arab cinema ends up being really bad slapstick comedy from Mr. Bean style with stereotypes and racism, awful. Or what ends up being popular are soap operas. This man hit his wife. Isn't that sad? Don't you want to cry? That's what Saudi film and Arabic film in general has been. And I think this is such a breath of fresh air because you can tell the artists really studied film, they enjoy film, they're inspired by the greats, and it really shows in their work. And I think in terms of comedy, this is as good as it gets, other than Scott Pilgrim. I need to stop mentioning Scott Pilgrim. And at number 8, Damien Chazelle's Babylon. Yes, people hated this movie, and I hate you. If you hate Babylon, I hate you. I want to punch you in the face. The fact that Damien Chazelle is never getting another... What the hell was the budget for this? $300 million? The fact that he's never getting a budget that big ever again is your fault. How dare you? This movie is awesome. Dude, it's like... Think Gatsby if it was good. You know that scene in Barbie where they dance to the Dua Lipa song and Margot Robbie gets sad while dancing to the Dua Lipa song? That's this entire movie, but better. Babylon is so goddamn good. Margot Robbie, incredible. Diego Calva, incredible. Brad Pitt, incredible. Every single person who worked on this film is unbelievably talented. It's a love letter to the art of cinema in a way that I don't think anyone other than Damien Chazelle can cook. It is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's bombastic. It's loud. It's quiet. It's sad. It's happy. It's fun. I was almost said the opposite of fun, but this movie is anything but boring. Even the slow scenes are smart, methodical, shot well, acted well. Brad Pitt almost made me cry. Brad Pitt plays a washed up actor. I almost cried watching him. It's awesome. The scenes near the third act of the film with Margot Robbie and Diego Calva, electric, unbelievable. The chemistry these characters have. How was this even possible? That woman is married, Diego Calva. How dare you? Babylon is incredible. Babylon is unbelievable. Babylon is fire. Babylon is huge. Babylon is maximalist to the nth degree. I need more movies like Babylon. I understand subtlety, but I also want to just sit down for 3 hours and get slapped in the face sometimes. And that's what Babylon does. And remember, those slaps are gentle. There's a really good slaps coming from Damien Chazelle because it's just good. You know, sometimes something is just good. And if you don't see it, you're embarrassing. The only gripe I have with this movie is the montage at the end. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. That montage is weak, but the rest of it, unbelievable, incredible. The sound design, the soundtrack, the music, the score. Margot Robbie dancing on like the bar and crying out of one eye, and then asking the director, "Should I cry out of the other one?" Talent. Next up at number 7 is The Batman. Listen, I'm a comic book fan, alright? You have to get over that. I'm gonna talk about comic books a lot. I grew up on comic books. Batman is the GOAT. He is the guy. And Robert Pattinson is the Batman. That's the name of the movie. The Batman. I think out of every actor that's played Batman, well, live action at least, does it get better than Pattinson? He's awesome. He's an emo. He's hot. He's weird. He's like goth. He looks nasty and gross in this movie because of the amazing makeup and costume design. He's sad. He's angry. He's hopeful. It's everything you want out of Batman. He's buff. He's tall. I'm just okay. Stop writing. The Batman is amazing. The cinematography, incredible. The sound design, incredible. The score by Michael Giacchino, unbelievable. I don't know what happened. I don't know how Matt Reeves ended up getting the Batman, but I'm so happy he did because this is fire. It's so good. Pattinson, Kravitz, Dano, Jeffrey Wright, amazing. Cinema. Every single character in this is incredible. The Riddler, what a villain. And the fact that they used the Riddler in this David Fincher serial killer style, it's like watching the Zodiac, but the Zodiac who's a pasty young white guy. It's awesome. It's everything I want out of Gotham. It's dark, it's brooding, it's nasty. The fact that Gotham City itself is a character in this movie is incredible. The movie's long, doesn't feel long at all. That chase scene where he's chasing down Colin Farrell's Penguin, amazing. The car flipping, the upside down cinematography, that shot with Batman walking through the fire, it's just awesome. The third act, I'm gonna keep saying awesome, shut up. The third act, unbelievable. With all like the Riddler henchmen. Also, this movie is funny because why am I talking so fast and urgently? I need to calm down. The Riddler is surprisingly funny in this. You know, he has that scene where he's on Twitch talking to a bunch of incels, and I think that's dope. Incels all pull up with rifles and try to kill Batman, even doper. The fact that Batman lights the way and paves the way for the citizens of Gotham using a flare. Does it get more Batman than that? Bringing hope to the people out of darkness and despair by putting fear into the hearts of criminals. There's nothing more Batman than that. Nothing. Except if Robin was in the sequel. Please put Robin in the sequel. I need to see live action Robin done well. Please, I love Robin. Please, 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 Robin. And next up at number 6 is Top Gun Maverick. I told you I wasn't done talking about Tom Cruise. That awesome, incredible, stunt performing Scientologist. Let's forget about the Scientology and remember that he's an amazing actor, an amazing producer, and he knows what people need. People need action. The youth yearn for action blockbusters. I want to be able to go to the theater and just see some cool stuff happen on screen. I want to see action. 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 He does all of that in this movie. There is so much action. Did I say action enough? Top Gun Maverick is fire. Glenn Powell, amazing actor. Tom Cruise, amazing actor. Miles Teller, best performance since Whiplash. What has he done since Whiplash? That wasn't fantastic. Best performance since Whiplash. He's awesome. Miles Teller with a weird country mustache, amazing. Sunglasses on, amazing. It's just good. It's just art. It's just pilots and they pilot and they go and they go and they go and cool shit happens. I don't want to spoil the actual plot of this movie, so what I'll say is, if you've seen Top Gun 1, it's just Maverick coming back after a long hiatus of non-combat, and there's combat in this, and he's really good at combat, guys. Something that Top Gun Maverick does right, and I think is super important, is the art of the legacy sequel. Top Gun came out 40 years ago. Is it 40 years ago? It's a long time ago. All right. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. Shut up. It came out a long time ago. And the fact that it's this good, it pays respect to every character. Hi, Cloud. It pays respect to every single character on screen. It elevates the old film, and it doesn't shy away from new issues or mistakes that were made in the past. And it especially doesn't shy away from how old its actors are getting. And I think it's a movie that actually shows Tom Cruise to be aging. It's a movie that shows the character Maverick to be aging, and it respects him. It cares for him in a way that's super important, because every franchise these days has a billion legacy sequels and a billion reboots, and I don't think I've seen anything quite like Top Gun Maverick. Listen, I thought the first movie was good, but this movie is baller. And something else I forgot to mention is Val Kilmer. I know Val Kilmer is suffering from throat cancer, and I absolutely love his cameo in this, and I love the fact that they brought back the goddamn Iceman for another banger scene. Yeah, Star Wars, this is how you do a legacy sequel, you bastards. It's like this. Do it like this. Respect the characters. Don't goddamn rewrite Darth Vader's sacrifice to make it useless. I'm sorry. I need to stop talking about Star Wars. At number 5, we have Everything Everywhere All at Once, directed by the Daniels. 2 Daniels. I still think that's a terrible name for a directing duo, but Everything Everywhere All at Once feels like you're reading the world's most intricate comic book. The multiverse, the action scenes, the comedy, the drama, the romance, the quotability. It's just like the world's coolest comic book. It's like a big omnibus of a comic book slapped into one movie. Michelle Yeoh is awesome in this. Stephanie Sue is awesome in this. Ki-Hye Kwan is amazing in this. What's the old dude's name? James Hong is awesome in this. Jamie Lee Curtis does her job. It's just very, very fun cast with a super cool concept. The fact that she's tapping into the multiverse of herself and just all her different realities all in one. The fact that this is directed like some old Kung Fu Jackie Chan movie, that's an amazing compliment. I'm not calling this movie old looking. It's awesome. It's a movie that wants to have fun, and it has fun. It's a movie that wants to make you sad, and it does make you sad. It's a movie that wants to show you some cool ass shit, and it shows you some cool ass shit. I think when you don't overthink the art, and you don't spend too much time thinking, let's make the time machine look realistic, and let's try to make the sci-fi effects cool. It's like, no, they're wearing like shitty VR headsets or something. And it works. The movie doesn't take itself too seriously, but it takes its serious scenes more serious than other films. And that's how it kind of completes that balance. Everything Everywhere All at Once is such a smart movie. And I know it's overhated these days on the internet, but all of you, just get a life, dude. Have some fun. This movie's fun. Why do you hate fun? At number 4 is a movie that I don't think is as good as a lot of these other movies, but my personal biases come in, so it's Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. Yes, this movie slapped for me. I was in the cinema thinking, this is incredible. This man is back. He made a fantastic movie. It's like Scott Pilgrim 2. It's not, but it's really good. Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho is clever. I love the fact that Edgar Wright knows he has good taste in music, and he uses that to such great lengths in his films. Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End, Soho, all of these movies have amazing soundtracks. And it's a man who uses that music well in his movies, and meshes and combines the audio-visual experience almost flawlessly. I think Edgar Wright's one of the best at that. And yeah, Last Night in Soho is just so much fun. Last Night in Soho is... I think it was mismarketed because they said, oh, this is Edgar Wright's first horror movie. It's not really a horror movie. There's like a few minutes of some scary imagery that didn't do any scare for me. I just think Anya Taylor-Joy is one of the GOATs already. I want to see Anya Taylor-Joy in every movie ever. If Anya Taylor-Joy could play Black Panther, I'd let her play Black Panther. Black Panther 3. I love Anya Taylor-Joy. Just an unbelievable actor. She kind of disappears into any role she takes, and I respect that as an artist, especially as someone who looks as unique as Anya Taylor-Joy is, and could probably just make her career off her very unique face. Don't get me wrong and think I'm calling her ugly. I think she's gorgeous. It's just that she does have a very distinct look, and a lot of actors have made their careers off having distinct looks. But Anya Taylor-Joy does pair that distinct look with talent. She's amazing. Thomasin McKenzie is fantastic in this movie. She does her job so well. I genuinely do believe every little feeling that Eloise is feeling. I buy into that really squeaky voice that she has. I don't know if that's her normal voice or it's a voice she put on for the film, but I think it's a super I think it's an amazing casting choice, because just hearing her voice in those opening shots where she's running around in that newspaper dress and thinking, she's so precious, she's such an innocent young girl and she needs to be protected, and then let's throw her into Soho, London and have her suffer. Fire. I think Edgar Wright is one of the greatest filmmakers ever. I almost said one of the greatest filmmakers ever made. Well, technically he was made, I guess. Edgar Wright is one of the greatest filmmakers ever. I want to see more Edgar Wright. Where's your next movie, bro? Please, dude. Yeah, Edgar Wright's my goat, and I want to see more of his work. I want to see more of Anya Taylor-Joy, and I want to see more of Thomasin McKenzie. Soho. Now at number 3, peak. That's the only way I can describe this movie. Peak. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I would have said this movie is our Empire Strikes Back, but something else is coming soon. So I'm just going to say one of the greatest sequels of all time. I'm probably also going to say probably the best animation film I've ever seen in my life. Every single little decision, every acting choice, every weird quirk, the character decisions, the fact that they decided to make the Spot the main antagonist for this. The Spot, have you looked at the Spot in the comics? This is the Spot. How did they make him that terrifying? This movie is just so good. I think anyone who disrespects animation as a medium is an idiot. Because Spider-Verse exists. This movie is, well, capable of existing. Isn't that awesome enough on its own? I dare you, sit down and watch the 2 Spider-Verse movies and tell me that cinema is not animation. That animation is not good enough for cinema. Animation is just another medium, and there are things that you can do with animation that you simply cannot do with live action. And I think that's very clear in this film, just watching the first few scenes where they're fighting Leonardo da Vinci era Vulture and looking at Oscar Isaac's amazing performance as Spider-Man 2099 and Shamik Moore's as Miles Morales and Haley Steinfeld as Gwen. It's just every single decision made for this movie, it feels deliberate. It feels like it's next level. There's a bunch of references and fan service in this film, and none of it feels out of place. It all feels like it gels and is structured well. The only issue I can possibly have with this movie is that it's not complete, but I guess that's not their fault. You can't really make a 6-hour movie these days, or any days for that matter. I can't wait for Beyond the Spider-Verse. I need to watch Beyond the Spider-Verse. Please give me Beyond the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse have elevated animation as an art form, and that's why every movie these days is trying to look like that. Every animation film is trying to capture that Spider-Verse charm, and the only movie that kind of does well with that is TMNT, in my opinion. That movie's really good, but it's no Spider-Verse, is it? And next up is probably, how do I state this? It's probably the best movie made in the 2020s, and that is Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. If it's the best, why isn't it first? I'll explain that in a second, but let me gush about this movie. Christopher Nolan is a genius Every single person that Christopher Nolan chooses to work with him is a genius, except for that one time he chose to have Harry Styles have so much screen time in Dunkirk. Why did Oppenheimer is amazing. I think this is one of the best edited movies I've ever seen. The fact that 3 hours of dialogue flows this well is ridiculous. How? What wizardry is going on in that editing room? Please tell me I'm making a movie. I need help. Christopher Nolan does it again. Christopher Nolan has done it his whole career. He is a pioneer. He is a man that appreciates the art of cinema. And he is a man that is willing to bring spectacle and grand, I don't know how to pronounce the word. I'll put it on the screen. He can bring that to your film. Well, to your screen. There's no better casting choice on earth than Cillian Murphy in a lead role, I think. I think Cillian Murphy should be the lead role in every movie. Let's have Cillian Murphy and Anya Taylor-Joy just be in every movie from now on. All of them. Even Black Panther 4, Wakanda takes over. Cillian Murphy is just so talented. He's the best. He's the GOAT. And I'm putting this out in the world. I know this will never happen, but if it does happen, say that I said it and that it's me. I did this. I prayed to God for this to happen. I need Cillian Murphy as Doctor Doom. He's the perfect age. He's the perfect weird European guy. He's just like old and hot enough for that one cut and Doom's pettiness to look good. Why am I talking about Doctor Doom? I think Oppenheimer has some of the best writing I've ever seen in a film. Oppenheimer has some of the best editing I've ever seen in a film. Oppenheimer has some of the best practical effects I've ever seen in a film. Some of the best acting I've ever seen. Best directing I've ever seen. And it just all comes together. I'm pretty sure it won the Oscars. I don't follow the Oscars. Every single award it got is deserved. Oppenheimer is incredible. The story, the fact that he managed to make Cillian Murphy look young in those scenes with the apple, you know what I'm talking about. Amazing. And just seeing Oppenheimer's journey into becoming the man who made the goddamn atomic bomb is unbelievable. And now we get to the opposite side of that coin and seeing Lewis Strauss, Robert Downey Jr., in his performance as the antagonist in a movie where there are Nazis implied. There's a world war going on. The worst character in this is goddamn Robert Downey Jr. And what a performance. After spending 20 years, is it 20 years? Doing the Avengers? It's not 20 years, it's like 15. Yeah, like 15 years doing those Marvel movies, which I love, but in a very different way than the art going on in Oppenheimer. I think Robert Downey Jr. has kind of broken out of that shell of being just Iron Man. He tried to do it with Doolittle, that movie was terrible. But Oppenheimer, what a performance. This man is electrifying. He steals every scene he's in. Seeing his face and seeing those black and white close-ups on him and seeing how petty and pathetic this guy is, it's just beautiful. And I've never heard 3 hours of dialogue be so interesting and intriguing. Oppenheimer is revolutionary. Oppenheimer is glorious, and Oppenheimer is a collection of all the experience Christopher Nolan and every single actor he's worked with combined and brought up to this amazing, amazing height. Another incredible part of Oppenheimer is its soundtrack. Ludwig Göransson, what the hell do you have for hands and for ears and for a mind? It's like a robot. It's like a singularity. It's like Skynet, but designed to make beautiful music. How can you even compose this? How can you think of this? I think that every single moment of Oppenheimer being scored, well, it feels like that. It literally feels like there's not a single moment in that film where there isn't music playing. And it's just incredible. The marriage of dialogue, of music, of sound design, of visual design is incredible. I feel like Ludwig Göransson just took the thoughts of Christopher Nolan writing this and the thoughts of Robert J. Oppenheimer himself and put them into this composition. I don't know how music composing works, as you can tell, but he puts that into this composition. He has his amazing orchestra band people, whatever, work together and create it and bring it to life. And I think Oppenheimer has just next level music. And the only movie that could beat it, the movie that you know is coming, and that number one is Dune Part 2. Denis Villeneuve, you son of a bitch. How did you do this? I watched Dune 1 twice now. Okay? The first time, I thought it was okay, and then I went home and forgot everything about it. Maybe that's not the movie's fault. Maybe it's the fault that I watched the movie with Enes. Enes, it's your fault. It's completely your fault, actually. You sat there and you were gushing about the movie, and you were excited, and you were happy. You were telling me, yo, look at this, and yo, look at this. But I was too busy looking at you looking at this to actually look at this. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I rewatched Dune Part 1. I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was all that. So I even wrote a Letterboxd review, and as you can see here, at the end of it, I said, I hope that Dune Part 2 can close that gap to greatness that Dune Part 1 was almost so close to. Dune Part 2 doesn't just close that gap, god damn it, it smashes it. It builds a whole bridge, it builds an indestructible black hole of gravity that pulls you in and does not let you go. I have thought about this movie every day since I've seen it. Every little scene is so effective. When I say that Spider-Verse could have been our Empire Strikes Back, this is it. Dune Part 2 is our Empire Strikes Back. People watching Star Wars in 1980, they got to experience what we're experiencing now. For me, Dune Part 2 elevates even higher. I think Dune Part 2 is probably the greatest fantasy and sci-fi film I've ever seen. And I have no idea how they're even going to come close for Dune Messiah. I have hope now, but I'm not going to let myself go way too over the edge, because how could you possibly top this? Everything about this movie is incredible. The greatest cinematography ever, the greatest effects, the best costume design I've ever seen on film. The performances are incredible. Chalamet, Zendaya, Butler, the Skarsgård. I'm so bad at Skarsgård names. I think the father's name is Alex. Please don't correct me if I'm wrong. Just let me be wrong. Who else is in this movie? Oh my god, so many people are in this movie. Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem, Josh Brolin, Florence Pugh, Bautista, Christopher Walken, Lea Seydoux. Now I'm just reading off a list because there's so many people. I'm just gonna stop doing that. Hi, Editing Tamim here. I just want to say that I forgot to mention that the GOAT is in Dune 2, Anya Taylor-Joy. That's another movie that she's in, and she needs to be in more movies. Put Anya Taylor-Joy in more movies. Thank you. Bye. Another thing that's so important about Dune Part 2 is Hans Zimmer and his team. Yes, Zimmer, I know that you don't make all your music, you bastard. Let your interns have names and stuff in the credits. Stop crediting yourself as a sole composer. I know how talented you are, but you have a team. Respect your team. Thanks. Your team is amazing. Dune Part 2, the music is incredible. It's like I'm being shipped away into this alien planet. I'm there on Arrakis. I am believing in the Lisan al-Gaib. I am believing in every stupid little thing Stilgar says to have his tribe believe in him. And it's just because of the music. Sure, the acting and the writing is incredible, but the music takes you there. Every time you hear that woman screaming, I'm gonna play her screaming just because I love to hear her scream. Every time you hear her scream, it's goddamn pumping through your veins. That's music. That's cinema right there. Hans Zimmer is a genius, and every single intern, no matter how little their role was, thank you for this beautiful soundtrack. I don't really listen to soundtrack music. I like to experience the soundtrack with the movie. But I sat for a road trip for 2 hours and listened to the whole Dune soundtrack. Almost tears in my eyes, had my blood pumping, remembering every scene and how the music went, remembering how unbelievably put together the score is. It's memorable, it's smart, it feels like part of the world. It's bombastic, it's incredible, it's unbelievable, and it's unfair. So thank you and screw you, Hans Zimmer. Every single actor pulls their A game in, and every single writer writes that actor incredibly. Dune Part 2 shouldn't exist. It's not fair that a movie can be this big, this grand, this ecstatic, this incredible, and still end up as good as this. Denis Villeneuve is a wizard. Greg Fraser, the cinematographer, another wizard. Every actor who worked on this, wizards. The writing, wizards. And for the first time in my life, I will say thank you, Warner Bros., for giving these people a lot of goddamn money. And you better give them triple the amount for Dune Messiah, because I need to see more of this universe. I am Dune pilled. I could sit here and gush about Dune Part 2 for the next 6 hours and I will not shut up. I'm gonna leave this video here. It's getting really long. Out of all these movies, I need you to watch Dune, and I need you to watch Dune Part 2. Because it just doesn't get any better than this. I doubt that I'll see a movie as good as Dune Part 2 in the next decade. But if something ever comes along, it won't. Why am I lying? Dude, Dune Part 2 is just too good. I think it's too good. I don't think cinema can get better than this. How has it gotten this good? Let's have a heart to heart. Cinema is beautiful, isn't it? Art is incredible. And the fact that there are so many amazing and talented artists out there all collabing and working together and coming together and holding their hands and just praying that the film works out well. And that the fact is, movies can be unbelievably beautiful. Movies have made me cry, they've made me happy, they've made me sing, they've made me dance, they've made me wallow in despair. In the end, it's all art, it's all human. And if there's one thing to love about humanity, it's the shared passion for creating beautiful things. Thank you for watching.